Hotel communication is your first impression abroad. When you first arrive in a new country, before the cuisine, landmarks, or locals, what greets you first is hotel communication. The tone of the receptionist, the doorman's gaze, the check-in staff's flexibility all contribute to your first impression. Am I truly welcome here? A country may not speak to you directly, but its hotel always says something first. Hotel communication isn't just services the first language a country uses to introduce itself to you. In international travel, there's a moment often overlooked. The moment a guest first enters the hotel. Not the tour. Not the meal, but the first hello from a staff member and their eye contact that truly forms the first impression. That moment isn't just protocol, it's a cross-cultural ritual. A warm gaze, a soft voice, a natural smile, these seemingly small details are the first message a country sends. You are welcome here. In ritual communication theory, first contact behavior is symbolic not only of the individual, but of the values they embody. A front desk clerk doesn't speak for themselves. They speak on behalf of the city, the country. If this initial message is wrong, say, it's through indifference or mechanical courtesy, the entire guest experience, and even their perception of the culture can be skewed. That's why hotel communication must be treated as grassroots diplomacy, where every sentence and gesture is foreign policy without a flag. A well-timed, properly toned greeting can launch a travel experience that's smooth, fulfilling, and unforgettable. Hotel communication isn't about elaborate speeches. It's about emotional accuracy in fleeting moments. A well-timed look, an authentic smile, a greeting said with presence. None of these take more than 10 seconds, yet they decide whether the guest feels safe or feels like a burden. Especially for international guests, where verbal language is limited, nonverbal cues hold immense power. If the receptionist's gaze appears rushed, distracted, or emotionally disengaged, the guest perceives not just a lack of professionalism, but a lack of care. According to service psychology, customers don't remember processes, they remember moments. And the earliest moments at the lobby, in the elevator, at the front desk form the lasting emotional architecture of the entire stay. This is why top hotel chains train staff not just in speech, but in emotional scanning, reading guests before they speak. A traveler may be jet-lagged, worried about lost luggage. They don't need someone to fix everything. They just need to feel seen. Great hotel communication isn't verbose, it's perceptive. And when staff learn to mirror the guest's emotional rhythm, they become architects of comfort. For many travelers, a hotel isn't just accommodation, it's their first miniature version of the entire country they've landed in. That's why the receptionist, the first real point of contact, unintentionally becomes the face of the nation in the guest's perception. If they are friendly, articulate, and attentive, the guest feels the country is welcoming. If they're cold, impatient, or difficult, guests often generalize. People here are like that. This is explained by the representative heuristic. People tend to extrapolate from one data point in the absence of opposing experiences, and hotel communication often occurring before any other local interactions sets the tone. A country can advertise with great visuals and catchy slogans, but if the hotel's front desk is dismissive, no campaign will undo that first impression. Therefore, hotel professionals must be trained not only in operations, but as emotional ambassadors. Every word they speak and every manner of response becomes a lasting imprint that travels with the guest, even after checkout. In hospitality, response time is not just technical, it's emotional. Especially in hotels, when guests wait too long to check in, receive guidance, or resolve an issue, they're not just frustrated by delays, but by the feeling of being deprioritized. Slow communication doesn't just inconvenience, it renders a guest invisible. For international travelers in unfamiliar environments, feeling ignored is more stressful than the issue itself. Service psychology calls this the amplified anxiety effect. Small problems become big when communication is absent. A simple phrase like, "We're working on this, thank you for your patience," can reduce tension. Guests don't expect perfection, they expect awareness. Therefore, communication speed must align with emotional clarity. A skilled hotel staff member doesn't just solve problems, they fill the waiting space with presence, reassurance, and care. No hotel is flawless. Rooms are sometimes unready, bookings confused, meals disappointing. But what makes guests return is not perfection, but how they're treated when something goes wrong. A sincere apology, a gentle tone, a quick resolution all carry more emotional weight than discounts or compensation. In service recovery communication, sincerity is the strongest trust repair tool. A staff member can't always fix the situation, but they can reshape the guest's emotional experience of it. Travelers forget the exact problem, but they remember who helped them feel better. These moments of empathy become stories they carry home, share online, and use to decide whether to return. Therefore, hotel staff must be trained not just in logistics, but in emotional intelligence. To apologize well, to listen fully, and to turn errors into bridges. In international hotels, cultural diversity is not just inevitably a communication challenge requiring acute sensitivity. A friendly gesture in the West, like a pat on the back or direct eye contact, may discomfort guests from East Asia, where respect is shown through distance and modesty. Conversely, European guests might find staff cold if eye contact or handshakes are absent. Therefore, hotel communication cannot rely on instinct, must be the result of formal intercultural training. According to Intercultural Communicative Competence (ICC) theory, staff must develop 3 key skills: cultural knowledge, behavioral adjustment, and respect for difference. A great hotel communicator is not someone who speaks a lot, but someone who knows when to speak, to whom, and how. That capacity defines true service excellence, not the number of stars, but how deeply guests feel respected, regardless of origin. When a vacation ends, guests may not remember which floor they stayed on, what they ate, or where they went each day, but they do remember the feeling of that first evening at the hotel. Was someone there to greet me? Did anyone remember my name? Did someone ask, "Was your journey smooth?" These brief, small moments live in the brain's emotional memory. According to behavioral psychology, emotional memories last the longest and strongly influence decisions to return or recommend. Thus, hotel communication should not be merely transactional, it must be crafted as an art of human connection. When hotel staff realize they're not just checking in guests but opening emotional journeys, every smile and question gains deep meaning. It ceases to be service, it becomes imprint. And that imprint lasts a lifetime. Every country wants to be loved by travelers, but affection isn't built through advertising. It begins with a first emotional signal received at a hotel, a well-timed smile, a kind greeting, an intentional gaze. Hotel communication isn't a peripheral industry, it's the front line of national identity. When hotel staff realize they don't just represent a company, but the spirit of a people, their words, gestures, and listening transform. So let's train hotel communication as we train diplomacy. Let's teach emotional fluency as we teach logistics. And if you believe that a journey begins with how we greet each other, share this message. Like, share, subscribe to spread the idea that service is the art of emotion.